Hi, everybody. Welcome back. We're going to continue with our meditation training, and the next lesson is on mindfulness of breath. So, mindfulness of breath is really important because the breath is always with us in our body. It is always here breathing us. But many times we're too busy and not paying attention to notice this. And so it can be a great way for us to come back into the present moment experience by not only grounding, like we did in our first meditation practice, but then starting to pay attention and entering into the present moment through the breath, through the breathing body. So in this particular practice, we're going to start to notice where you feel the breath the strongest. So it's different than other types of breathing exercises, which have wonderful purposes where you're controlling the breath or breathing in a certain way. With mindfulness of breath, we're not trying to control or manipulate the breath. We're learning to pay attention to how our breath actually is in the present moment experience. So people feel the breath typically in different places in their body. Some people notice the breath the strongest in the belly. Some people might feel the rise and fall of their chest. Some people notice air passing through their throat. Some people notice the air passing through their nostrils. Now, there's no right or wrong place to feel the breath. It's really about where you feel it the strongest. So getting to know your body, getting to know yourself. And we do this, as I mentioned, because it's a great way for us to return into the present moment and to get out of our busy thinking mind. So we come back into a bodily experience, into a sensory experience, here and now, because our body is here in the present moment, even when our mind is in other places. So if this is the breath in the body, this is where we want to come back to for this meditation practice. So many times our busy thinking mind's going to pull us into the future, into anxiety, into worry, into fear. What we do is we notice that, and we're returning back to the breath, knowing and feeling the breath in our anchor spot, in the place that we feel it the strongest in the body. And then other times the mind wants to pull us into the past. It wants to replay stories. It wants to replay conversation. I should have done this. I could have done this. We notice that and we return to the breath in the body because that's the present moment. And then other times we're pulled into judgment, judging ourselves, judging other people. We're pulled into fantasies and stories and to other places to be anywhere other than where we are right now. It's all very normal, very natural. But in this mind training, we're remembering and coming back to the breath. Mindfulness, sati, to remember, can be an interpretation of that word. To remember, to return, to come back to the present moment experience. In the future, and come back. In the past, come back to the breath. In judgment or fantasy, notice that and come back to the breath. So as I mentioned, we'll be doing an anchor word, and the anchor word is belly, chest, throat, nose. This is the anchor where you might feel your breath the strongest. So you'll learn about that so you know that that's where you can return to as we enter into this meditation practice together. So we'll begin by getting into a comfortable seated position. So in the first video, we were talking about that could be on a cushion, on a bench, on a chair, on a sofa, but allowing your body to be in a place where you're upright, where your feet are flat on the floor, not crossed, where your hands are in a comfortable position. That's going to be the starting place. And then I'm going to guide you through this practice, noticing and paying attention to the breath in the body. So giving you a minute to come into that position right now. Okay, so we're going to enter into the breath meditation together. Closing your eyes if that's comfortable, or allowing your gaze to be down, looking at the floor a few inches in front of you. And first, we bring awareness to the points of contact that your body has with the ground. Noticing feet on the floor, supported by the earth underneath you. And paying attention to your sit bones and your bottom on whatever you're seated on. Spine is tall, upright, yet relaxed. Allowing softness in the face. Allowing chest to be open. Letting go of tension in the belly. And allowing your hands to be soft on your legs, or maybe placing your hands on your belly. Just being grounded and steady and here in this moment. Paying attention to breath breathing in the body. So with curiosity and kindness, noticing where do you feel the breath is strongest in this moment right now. Not trying to change your breath, not manipulating the breath in any way, just paying attention to where you can notice the sensation of breathing the strongest. For some, you may be noticing the rise and fall of the stomach. For some, you might be noticing the rise and fall of the chest. For some, you may be noticing air passing through the throat. Or you might also be noticing the air passing through your nostrils. Remember, there's no right or wrong place. We're just noticing what our anchor is, the place that we come back to in the body each and every time we notice our mind wanders away. So, from this embodied place, you're aware of what you will come back to when the mind gets busy. And so, if thoughts are swirling through the mind and pouring down like a waterfall, it's no problem. That's what minds like to do. Let's not get caught up in the thoughts and return back into the body at this anchor spot. Come back to your breath. Getting curious if the breath is fast or slow in this moment. Noticing fast breath is like this, or slow breath is like this. Knowing it and following it and experiencing that. Getting curious if the breath is deep or if it's shallow on the surface of the body. Remember, no right or wrong, just learning, getting curious, being kind to yourself. What's my breath like? Deep breath is like this. Shallow breath is like this. Just experiencing it in the body. Where is your mind now? It's been pulled away into some thought stream or story. It's no problem. Return. Remember to come back to your anchor, the place in the body where you're feeling the breath. It's a mindful moment. Each and every time the mind wanders away and you notice it, it's an opportunity for practice. Bringing awareness to the whole breath, breathing through the body. Be noticing the entire inhalation and entire exhalation, really tracking that and following that. Perhaps even noticing a subtle expansion of the upper back as you breathe. Or even paying attention to the pauses between each breath. Allowing any emotions that might arise to pass through the body. Very natural when we sit down to meditate, noticing emotional life, just allowing that to pass through and be known. And knowing you can come back to this anchor, to this breathing in the body as a place of stability, place that holds us steady no matter what's going on in the world around us. For the last several minutes of the meditation practice, I'll be silent and you're invited to just notice if mind gets busy, return back to this breath in the body, and do that over and over again as many times as you need, coming back to an embodied presence, awareness of the present moment through knowing breath. And opening your eyes or coming out of the practice at the end of the sound of the bell. So, in that particular meditation practice, the orientation was being in the body in the present moment, using breath as an anchor, as a place that you can always return to. So, you may have noticed that you felt the breath in the belly, or the chest, or the throat, or the nose. That's a place that you can return to when you practice again. But I'm going to invite you to really pay attention because it could be different on different days. So if one day you sit down to practice and it's you feeling the breath the strongest in the belly, great. If you're noticing it in the chest, no problem. It's okay if it's different on different days. Every moment is different. So in that practice, we're also really um, learning the different components of breath and learning how to stay with it. So many times we're distracted. There's so much to distract us in today's culture and society that if we get really curious, we can learn to stay with something by really investigating it. So in that practice, we were investigating the qualities of breath, if it was short, long, if it was deep or shallow, fast or slow, really noticing these different qualities of breath. Maybe noticing the subtle sensation in the upper back as the chest and rib cage opens and closes. Maybe noticing the air passing through the nose across your upper lip, or the sensation of the air passing through the throat. Maybe noticing the pauses between breaths, or how pauses might happen later in the practice as we're calming down our nervous system. And you might have noticed that your mind was wandering a lot, and that's no problem too. So if your mind wanders away 100 times in that practice, you bring it back 101 times. We're building a mindful muscle. We're building resilience. We're building the ability to notice we've come away from the present moment and we're returning and coming back. That we have that ability to practice and develop mind training, to develop the ability to stay in the present moment experience. So we've covered two different practices. The first one is a grounding practice, helping us to set up our posture, to come back into the present moment experience, and to be in the body, to start to become embodied and come out of our mind. And in this practice, we go a little bit deeper. We come into the body and ground, and then orient our attention, our awareness on the breathing body. And then we explore the different qualities of the breath. So as I mentioned in the previous video, I would encourage you to continue with this practice. So doing 5 minutes a day, 5 days a week for 5 weeks to develop this new habit or this new skill. We do this so that when our thoughts are really busy and our emotions are fluctuating, we learn to notice that and to allow them and to come back into the present moment, which is where things are actually happening. We learn to see that we're not our thoughts. We learn to see that emotions are not lasting as long as we think they last. They go through the body very quickly. We're learning to be embodied, to be grounded. This is so important with what's happening in the world these days, to know how to ground ourselves and be with this breath that is with us everywhere we go. So just noticing for a minute and reflecting, how do you feel right now? Any difference from when you first started the meditation? Is there any sense of calm, peacefulness? Does the body feel more relaxed? You're feeling a little more agitated because you're noticing everything that's happening in the body. We're not turning away from any of that. We're just starting to know our own experience. There's such power in that. Rumi says the quieter you become, the more you will hear. And that's what happens when we enter into a meditation practice. The quieter we become, the more grounded and steady we become, the more we'll hear, the more we'll notice thoughts that are not serving us, the more we'll notice emotions that are passing through us, the more we'll be able to hear and listen to our intuition and to know how to act kindly and clearly no matter what comes our way in the world. So thank you for your attention. It's been really great to guide you through these practices. I am available for all different kinds of mindfulness sessions. I do online group meditations. I do online individual mindfulness sessions, helping people get set up in meditation practice and mindfulness mentoring. I do nature-based meditation sessions in a couple different platforms. So you can find me, most easiest is on Instagram, mpensak9, MPENSAK9, or at melaniepensak.com, where you can sign up for my mailing list where I send out some of my online offerings. And stay tuned, I'll have a new website that's coming up at some point this summer that I'll be listing a lot of the mindfulness practices and the nature practices that I like to teach people as well. So I hope that you found this beneficial. Wishing you a really rich practice and lots of learning. And thank you for your attention. Be well.